Hi, I'm Jen from workingathomeschool.com. I'm just kind of looking up at my monitor here to see if everything is working. If you can hear me and everything's working, I'd love to hear from you in the chat box over there. I see Barb in Tucson is with us and Sandy, hi. And I just want to make sure that you can all hear me okay. So if anyone wants to just let me know really quickly if the sound is working for you or if there are any problems, and just type in your name and where you're from. I'd love to say hi to you too, and we'll get started here in just a moment. So let's see. Can I just hear from anybody? Is the sound working okay? We'll just double check over here really quickly. Awesome. Thank you, Alyssa. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Jen. I'm from workingathomeschool.com. I'm a homeschooling work-at-home mom of 5, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself, but I just wanted to say welcome. This is the class that will help you be able to eat at home, even just if you have a few minutes to get dinner on the table. We're going to talk about how to do that, the best way to do that, the easiest way to do that, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so you can see what I'm looking at here, and we will get started with the presentation. So okay, so here we go. Today we're going to talk about how to stick to a meal plan or eat at home, or even if it doesn't have anything to do with a meal plan, just how to get dinner on the table really fast. Okay, I'm just going to mention really quick. If the video says it's private, you'll probably want to refresh your screen and press play again. That should take care of the problem. So I'm going to go ahead and mention that in the chat box here too. Just refresh the web page and press play again, and that should take care of the problem. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to reduce meal prep by 70% or more for those nights that you're too tired to cook, simple methods to get dinner on the table when you're too busy to cook, and how to save dinner when you've just got nothing. And that happens to me a lot. A little of what we talk about is going to be about changing your mindset about dinner, but mostly we'll talk about simple, practical things you can do to make sure you're never caught without dinner on the table or dinner ready to go. So if you are someone who struggles with eating out a little more than you'd like to, or you just get too busy or too tired to cook, or maybe you just don't feel like making the meal you had planned, this class is for you. We're going to talk about 3 different scenarios that a lot of us moms face every day and strategies to turn those around. Maybe you struggle with meal planning, or maybe you've nailed it. But either way, I think all of us come to a place where we just can't make a meal plan work every night, or we just don't have time to make what we planned every night. So stick with me today and we'll talk about what you can do to fix those dinner time struggles that I think all of us deal with from time to time. Now, a little bit more about myself. My name is Jen. I have been in that position for sure. Like I said, I'm a work-at-home homeschooling mom of 5. I blog at workingathomeschool.com. And the name of my website was actually published in the Trim Healthy Mama Plan book, which is very popular. I recommend the book, obviously. But it was published there as a meal planning resource because that's what I do. I do meal plans. I make all kinds of free meal plans for busy moms. And it just has come to my attention that a lot of us struggle not just with the planning, but also with sticking to it and what to do when life is crazy and we can't stick to our meal plan. So my goal on my website is to help busy moms eat well, get organized, and get the most out of every day. But my goal today is to help you create a system that helps you to always be able to eat at home, no matter what kind of crazy is going on in your day. Now, I did email a worksheet out to you to help you keep track of what we talked about today. So you might want to have that handy. And if you missed that, please don't worry. I'll try to go a little slowly, but we do get through a lot of information and a lot of tips. So if you do happen to get lost, I'll be answering questions at the end of the class. And you'll want to stick around till the end of the class anyway, because we'll be talking about those questions and also giving away something fun, so you won't want to miss that. So here's a question for you. How often does your family eat out? I know there are some budgeting rock stars who never eat out, and I admire them so much. But for us, we found we were eating out just way, way too much. I have 5 kids under 12, and I feel like most days just get totally crazy. Just a few years ago, my family was eating out 4 or 5 times per week or more because I thought we were just too busy to eat at home. We would end up going out, and when it was close to dinner time, I would just too frequently say, oh, well, I guess we have to eat out again. We're not going to be home in time to make dinner. And that just became a habit. Or we would be at home, but I would be tired, definitely way too tired to cook the meal I had planned to. And this is not any kind of judgment because I have done this more times than I can count, but we would just pull out boxes of macaroni and cheese or cereal or just something that was super quick. It would a lot of times be when the kids would see that I wanted to eat tacos for dinner, and everybody would just kind of say, oh, tacos don't sound good, but we couldn't really think of anything else. So we would default to food that just wasn't as good for us. So there are a few big problems with this kind of hit or miss approach to meals. The first one is I wasted a lot of food. I don't know if anyone else has had this problem, but I have just found that we would have slimy cucumbers and wilted lettuce in our refrigerator all the time because I would just kind of forget what I had, or we just weren't eating healthy foods. You know, anytime you get food at a restaurant, you have to realize how much MSG and added sugar can be in any food that you get, even the ones that seem healthy. But even without that stuff, we were eating so much fast food that I was gaining weight. I could tell my kids were kind of struggling, maybe not with their weight, but just kind of sluggish. We were getting sick a lot. We just weren't benefiting from eating out so much. We were also spending way too much money. Between the wasted food in our refrigerator, a pantry full of food that was going completely untouched, and then on top of that, the extra cost of eating out, I was going way over my food budget every month, and I'll show you what I mean. This is just a really simple graph to show you, but since the food I had planned to eat often ended up wasted, I calculated 1 month that I spent an extra $280 on that wasted food plus eating out. That was just in 1 month. No wonder we were running low on funds. And once I started implementing the strategies we'll talk about today, and that was just in January of this year, I started seeing huge savings. And I honestly think that a good part of that was really just from breaking the habit of eating out so often. So I used to just ditch my meal plan all the time. I could make a plan pretty well, but I had a hard time sticking to it. I'm really excited to share the tips and strategies I've come up with to help us always be able to eat at home no matter what. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And when we eat out now, it's really because we plan to. And when we have an easy dinner night with little to no cooking and prep, I'm always now 100% sure that I have a super healthy and delicious meal that I can put on the table in just a few minutes and with minimal effort. So let's go ahead and dive in, and I'm going to help you hopefully create the same kind of plan for yourself. And we're going to talk about how to eat by design and not by defaults, because life just doesn't always go as we plan. And when things come up, we have to have a backup plan or some kind of design to fall back on so we don't default to what's easiest and most convenient. I'm determined to make the easiest and most convenient things healthy, easy meals. So let's go ahead and talk about a common problem that I think most of us face. Let's say we're out. This happens to me all the time. I'll be out at one of my kids' soccer practices at 5:30, or driving home from work, or running an errand, or just fill in the blank with something that you often find yourself doing around a mealtime. You know you won't be home for another 15 minutes, and you know you need to feed everyone at a reasonable time because everybody's hungry. But maybe you planned on a whole roasted chicken for dinner, and that's going to take about an hour. Well, I used to find myself in that situation regularly, and I would just call it a no-brainer and grab some takeout or drive through at a fast food restaurant. I never even really considered that I could make dinner at home under those circumstances. When I needed to save money towards the end of the month, I'd get everyone home and just kind of wander around the kitchen, opening the pantry, fridge, and freezer, and look around feeling kind of lost until I started pulling out boxes of cereal or spaghetti. Now, friends, there is a better way. So I'm going to explain that to you. This first one may sound way too simplistic, but bear with me because we'll get to some meatier information in just a few minutes. But the first strategy is always have a meal plan that works for you. Like I said, this might seem super obvious, but stick with me. Okay, your meal plan needs to be in place, but it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to have side dishes or be a complete full meal plan. It's good to just have a general idea of what you have and what you'd like to eat and what days that will work for you. Your meal plan does need to be practical. It does need to be fairly easy, and it does need to work with your schedule. So let's talk a little bit more about the working with your schedule part, because this is where I used to get stuck. Make your meal plan work with your schedule. In that scenario we just talked about, my first mistake was planning an hour-long dinner when we were going to be spending the afternoon out of the house. The logistics just don't work. Now, when I'm planning my meals, I make out of the house days into crock pot days. I can toss a few ingredients in the crock pot and head out the door, knowing that whenever we do get home, we've got dinner ready. It takes discipline, but it's definitely doable. Now, you might be saying, Jen, I'm taking this class because sometimes I forget to start the crock pot, or I don't have time to plan anything, or I don't have time to prepare anything before I leave the house. And I totally understand that, because that is where I've spent most of my time, in that place, I think. But the answer to that problem is strategy number 2, which is always have a backup plan or a plan B. You might be thinking, okay, that sounds great, but that's not likely to solve my problem. And I hear you, but here's where I want to help you out, because this is one of the strategies that has helped me more than anything to always eat at home. So let's talk about some of the basics of having a backup plan for dinner time, okay? Your backup plan doesn't have to be fresh. It doesn't have to be complicated. And again, it doesn't have to be complete. You don't need to have a bunch of side dishes to go with whatever you end up with for your backup plan. It does need to be quick. It does need to be easy. It needs to be something you always keep on hand, and it has to be something you don't have to think twice about, because if you have to put a lot of thought into a backup when dinner's not working out, you're not going to use it. So let's talk about some ideas for you to keep as your backup plan for dinner time. I keep 2 backup meals at least ready at all times, but I usually have about 5. Not only does this help when things are leaner financially, but it also gives us options when I'm too busy to cook. So I'm going to explain the main strategy of a backup plan, okay? And that is my pantry baskets. My pantry has several baskets, and each basket is packed with a complete dinner meal. For example, I might have spaghetti and a jar of spaghetti sauce in one. Or one of my favorites is up here on the screen for you. Canned chicken, black beans, instant brown rice, 1 can of corn, 1 jar of salsa, and a packet of taco seasoning. If you happen to follow the Trim Healthy Mama way of eating, that's an e-meal. If you don't, it's still delicious. So I have all of this with a printed recipe card in one basket located in my pantry. This is a ready-to-go meal that comes together in less than 5 minutes. I immediately, after we've eaten it, I'll put the ingredients back on my shopping list so I know to restock and have it ready for next time. It's filling, it tastes great, it's low fat, and my kids love it. You could even add a packet of tortillas to your basket or tortilla chips, but the concept is to have a complete meal in one spot so you can pull your basket out, make a really quick dinner, or even have one of the kids or someone else, your husband, make it for you if you're lucky, and have dinner on the table in just a few minutes. So I have several meals like this all ready to go for those times that I'm just too busy to cook, and I can get something on the table in just a few minutes. It's really been a lifesaver. I also keep an entire meal frozen in my freezer as well, but it's not the kind of freezer meal you might be thinking of. I really just have separate quick thaw components in my freezer ready to go to toss together as a meal. So for example, I'll have something like a bag of frozen quinoa that thaws, very quickly, and a bag of pre-cooked, crumbled, or ground beef or shredded protein like chicken. And the trick to help these thaw so much faster is when I put the ground beef in a freezer bag, I lay the bag flat and spread the meat out so it's in a single layer instead of in like a giant clump of frozen meat, and it thaws so much more quickly. So having a meal in my freezer doesn't mean a major freezer cooking session, because if you followed me at workingathomeschool.com at all, you might know that I complain a lot about freezer cooking, and I had a lot of readers request some freezer cooking sessions. So I put those together. I have free printables for how to do a freezer cooking session and shopping lists and how much time you'll spend and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just really not a fan. I would rather double one meal and freeze the second part than spend a whole day in the kitchen cooking and freezing, because I just don't really have time for that. But this freezer meal idea is so different because I will just make a bunch of staples, freeze them separately in my freezer, and then thaw them quickly under running water or in the microwave and toss them together for a really quick, fresher freezer meal. And it just tastes great. It takes just a few minutes and it's so worth it. Now, I have to mention while we're talking about this, my Instant Pot. I call it my secret weapon. It's one of the few appliances that has earned a place on my kitchen counter. And I do make a lot of really quick meals in my Instant Pot, and that's always an option for you on a busy night. But sometimes the thought of actually using it and putting everything together when we want a really quick dinner can be a little overwhelming. It is nice to have. So if you want to see the one I use, you can check out workingathomeschool.com/resources. So having a backup plan or a plan B in place has saved us when we're caught out of the house, when we're too tired to cook, when I'm too busy to cook, or when the ingredients we have aren't good. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but sometimes I'll get something home from the grocery store and the next day it's just not good. I've actually taken something back once because I was a little shocked. It should have lasted another week or so. But it just happens. Sometimes the ingredients don't work out or you realize you're missing something that you really need. Having these backup meals ready can be a total lifesaver. And even when I don't feel like cooking, I'll use some of these pantry basket meals occasionally or a meal from my freezer. And it's just such a wonderful feeling to know that I can have something really quickly if I don't feel like making what I had planned to. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. So we've changed our meal design so that our default last minute meal now is a pantry meal or a quick thaw freezer meal instead of takeout. And I have to tell you, it was crazy the last time I tried this. We'd been out of the house and just so crazy busy, and I knew I didn't have any time to make dinner. But I was able to have dinner on the table 7 minutes after we walked in the door. Just 7 minutes. So just keeping a running list of these super quick pantry and freezer meal ideas handy has saved dinner time in my house, and I know it can save dinner at your house too. Now, I am going to answer more questions about this at the end of class, but I do see that Little Princess asked in the chat box, will the pantry idea be available to print out after this? Because you're all participating in this webinar, and I want to say thank you for taking the time to sit through this class, I will email a free printable with a few backup meal ideas for your pantry once the class is over to help you get started on your plan B for dinner time. I'll probably have that sent out tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. So let's just kind of reimagine the scenario we discussed earlier. Let's say you're out at 5:30, you know you won't be home for dinner for another 15 minutes. Everybody's hungry and it's time to eat. But you've set yourself up for success. You don't have time to cook, but you know there's dinner waiting for you in the crock pot. Or if you're anything like me, maybe you didn't get the crock pot started because one of the kids was missing a shoe and you spent 40 minutes shoe hunting before you got in the car instead of getting dinner started for later. Hey, no worries. You could have 2 backup meals in place. Burrito bowls in your pantry or quinoa with chicken all ready to go in just a couple of minutes. Either way, dinner is covered. So I jumped ahead a little. Let's go back. Let's say another common problem here that I deal with all the time is being too tired to cook. I wake up at 4 a.m. to work for 5 hours before I start school with my kids. So by dinner time, I will be totally honest, sometimes I feel completely exhausted and trashed and don't feel like making dinner. Maybe you're even home all day like me, but you're just so tired or coming home from work and exhausted. You've had a busy day. Maybe it's coming up on 6 o'clock and you know everyone's going to want to eat soon. The kids are hungry because when aren't they hungry? And you just don't have the energy to make the meal that you thought of making for the night. Instead of reaching for the cereal or macaroni and cheese that I used to reach for all too often, there are 2 big changes to this scenario you can make. The first one is change your mindset. So when you're just too tired to cook, it can feel overwhelming to think of making anything at home from scratch. I used to look at it as walking into my kitchen and starting from nothing and having to build up to a 100% completed meal. Instead of that, try thinking about it this way. Let's say if you have a meal plan, you don't have to start from 0% and you're not starting from 0%. If you have a meal plan, I would say that maybe 30% of your dinner time battle is already fought. I have timed myself on multiple occasions and I can easily waste about 10 minutes puttering around and trying to figure out what to eat. But when I have a plan in place, that much more of the work is already done. If I move to my backup plan, I've got a ton of the work already done and I can relax a little bit because I know it's time to eat and I've got something ready to go. Now, because I love charts and graphs, I will show you my pie chart, but also how to change your mindset for dinner. What it looks like, I think of it kind of as filling up a tank. So if you have a meal plan, you have part of the tank already filled up. If you have anything prepped, I mean, I'm talking, when I think meal prep, I look at buying a bag of frozen veggies from the store as meal prep because that's a bag of veggies that you don't have to chop and you could microwave or make really quickly without any extra work on your part. So if you have anything prepped, that's another good part of the tank being filled up. And then that means you just have a small amount of time in the kitchen before dinner to put things together and complete your meal. Even, like I said, frozen veggies will be a step up from 0 because you don't have to do any chopping. If you have shredded chicken, ground beef, rice, quinoa, chopped veggies, any of it, which are all things that I have in my freezer right now, you have a base for a meal. How many recipes could you make that much faster by quickly thawing the pre-cooked meat instead of starting from scratch? And how much time could you save by having a few elements of your recipe ready ahead of time? Now that brings us to strategy number 3, which is always keep your freezer and pantry stocked with staples. Now, this can be more painless than you'd think, so I'll give you some tips to help you get this step done as quickly and easily as possible. Let's look at a recipe example though. This is one of my family's favorites. This is called taco stack-ups. It's super simple with just a few ingredients, but while the recipe says it only takes 15 minutes to prep and 15 minutes to cook, I have to be honest and say that even this can feel like way too much when it's time to eat and I'm exhausted. But I know this is doable. If I plan to eat this tonight for dinner and I walked into my kitchen, I wouldn't be starting from 0. I wouldn't be starting from nothing. I already have 2 pounds of ground beef cooked and frozen in my freezer and then a bag of cheese grated in my refrigerator. Now, ideally, you'd start thawing something like this ahead of time. But if I couldn't, I know that I could still have dinner mostly completed, just needing to be thawed and thrown together when I got home. It takes about 10 minutes to thaw pre-cooked ground beef in a skillet with the taco seasoning and tomato sauce this recipe calls for. And if you thaw it in a single layer, that's going to save so much more time and help it thaw that much more quickly. I do want to note that if you use a deep freezer or freeze below normal temperatures, it could take a little longer to thaw. But again, you could always use the microwave. So by having a plan in place and the majority of my ingredients prepped and ready to go, I've reduced my daily cooking time by a huge margin. So let's go over that last scenario again. Let's say you're tired and you just don't think you can make dinner. But instead of trying to gear yourself up to get in the kitchen and start from 0, you know dinner for tonight is already 70 to 80% done. It just needs those finishing touches. If you've got a plan, if you've got some of the ingredients prepped and ready to go, you'll know that you can throw together even a nicer meal than this one very quickly. You could add a few fresh ingredients like sour cream and chopped cilantro and be ready to go. Plus, you won't have all the extra dishes from pre-prepping some of these foods, so cleanup will be that much easier. You can have dinner mostly done, you'll just need to finish it up. And with that mindset, I've overcome many nights of being too tired to cook because really by prepping ahead of time, I've done the majority of the work and made it so much easier on myself. Even better, by having a few hours of prep time per week, man, I save so much time. If I'm chopping an onion for Thursday's dinner, I might as well chop one for Saturday as well. I just keep separate Ziploc bags in the fridge labeled and ready to go. And then I've only gotten my cutting knife and cutting board dirty once instead of multiple nights during the week. So it's a total win-win. So we'll move on to strategy number 4, which is designate just some time every week for meal prep. Even an hour per week can change everything. And I say an hour per week, but I rarely spend a full hour per week. I'll tell you exactly what I do here. So my meal prep day is Thursday, and I usually plan between 20 minutes and an hour or so to prep food. My kids take turns helping me out. I gotta say my toddlers are not very much help at all, but they're cute, so it's okay. And every Thursday, I will look over my meal plan for the week and print recipes I'll be using. I prepare one staple ingredient in addition to that. So like, for example, if I'm prepping things for several recipes, I might also get some brown rice going in the Instant Pot just to use to have that staple ready and frozen for a backup meal. I identify the recipe components that I can make ahead in every recipe, refrigerate things that will be used within the next few days, and freeze the rest. And then I always make a dessert or snack just because having something cooked and ready to go really helps us to eat healthy all the time. So a quick list of things that I like to have on hand are brown rice, quinoa, chicken breasts, ground beef, frozen veggies, and chopped onions. Those are just some of my favorites to have ready to go. Now, I mentioned the Instant Pot before. I want to give it a quick shout out again. I can get the Instant Pot cooking while I'm doing some simple meal prep, and it makes a lot of my staples for me with a really minimal effort on my part. My favorite things to have going in the Instant Pot are frozen chicken breasts or other frozen meat, brown rice, beans, boiled eggs, oatmeal, things like that. It can just be cooking during my Thursday prep time, even if I'm just spending 20 or 30 minutes, and it just makes a huge difference. So there are a few things you can remember here. I just think that there's so much you can do in very little time that will make dinner time so much easier for you from day to day. So let's say the next scenario, which is something that happens to me a lot, is that you just don't feel like eating what you plan to cook. Let's say it's a Saturday, you're not too tired, you're not too busy, and you've planned on taco night, which isn't too hard. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is that wishful thinking for a Saturday? Because my Saturdays don't always go that nicely, but it does sound pretty nice. But let's say your husband mentions he doesn't feel like tacos, and as you start thinking about it, tacos sound kind of boring to you too. You might not really be feeling Mexican food at all, and that's, I think, when eating out starts sounding really tempting. So there are a few things to remember here. If you still really don't feel like eating what you planned, see if one of your backup pantry meals is more appealing or something in your freezer. While I generally try to save those for times that I know I only have a few minutes to cook, sometimes they're nice for those times that you just want something different. You can always reschedule your tacos for the next day, and these backup meals, it's just another way they come to the rescue at my house. You can try to reinvent your ingredients, and I'll show you one idea for doing that. If you go to Pinterest, I would just search for, in this example, I searched for ground beef trim healthy mama, but you can search for inspiration to do something totally different for your meal. And when I just searched for ground beef, it came up with Mexican pasta salad, loaded tostadas, crispy Southwest beef. I mean, there's tons of stuff you can find on there. You can also search allrecipes.com. You can put in what you have in the ingredient box. And also that arrow is pointing to the exclude ingredients option, which I love because a lot of times you'll find that when you search for ground beef recipes, it will pull up a lot of things with mushrooms. And if you don't have mushrooms, you can just exclude those and get some more good ideas. You can also turn taco night into a taco bar or salad bar. Scour your refrigerator, freezer, and pantry for something new to add to that taco night, and just make it a DIY bar so everybody can make their own. Or you could make it a game, and this is really fun. But you could set out the dinner ingredients you already have and ask your kids or your husband what they would make instead. Whoever comes up with the best idea is the winner. Or you could even do like a mini family version of Chopped on TV where you throw one random weird ingredient in there and see what they can come up with. I think it's so fun to get the kids involved and get their creative juices flowing so that they can come up with something fun and feel like they have ownership over dinner. But the real reason I do that kind of is when the kids are really excited about making something, I get a break and I can go put my feet up for a minute, but don't tell them I said that. That's a fun way to get the kids involved and get dinner done without as much effort on your part. And remember, sometimes dinner doesn't have to be super exciting. It's just a fact of life that sometimes foods can serve a purpose of nourishing your body and not be so gourmet or complicated. So, from time to time, if I don't feel like tacos, I'll just make the tacos anyway instead of eating out just to save my budget. But it is more fun to just come up with something different. So let's go back to strategy number 5, which is what we just went over. You can make it more interesting, but don't force it. If you really can't come up with anything and no one's feeling creative and you just have to eat tacos, then just eat the tacos, or, come up with something just with a little variation to make a little more exciting for everybody. So in this scenario, strategy number 5 is key. Make dinner more interesting if you don't feel like cooking what you planned. You can always fall on your backup plan if you need to. So looking over the past 20 minutes, we do have a little bit more to cover, but I'm just going to rehash those 5 strategies for you. These strategies will help you always eat at home and always have a backup plan. We also talked about some of the whys and hows to help you put those strategies into place. So number 1 was always have a meal plan that works for you, and remember to have it work with your schedule as well. Number 2 is always have a backup plan. Number 3, always keep your freezer and pantry stocked with staples. Number 4, designate some time every week for meal prep. 20 minutes to an hour per week can change the way you run your kitchen. It has definitely made a huge difference in my kitchen. And make it interesting, but don't force it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But there are ways to make dinner a lot more fun and interesting for the whole family. So we are going to go ahead and move on. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about this backup plan system. Once I figured out the system of having a backup plan in place, I noticed a huge difference, not only in how I felt about my meal planning skills, but also in how I was able to stay on budget while feeding healthy foods to my kids. It really has eliminated that feeling for me of being frazzled and not sure what to get on the table when people are hungry. It's been such a relief. So why are these strategies so important? Well, using these strategies that have proven to be successful for me and other people who've taken this class, my family members, my friends, so many people have started using this system, and I've gotten such a great feedback on it. It really ensures that you're always able to get dinner on the table, even if you just have a few minutes. This is also the quickest and cheapest way I've found to plan to eat at home and actually stick with it. And I've created my own plan A, so my general meal plan, and then plan B, which is a backup plan for you to follow so that you can save money, eat well, and eat the way you plan to instead of defaulting to takeout or junk food. So one thing I really want you to take away from what we just talked about is that dinner can be easy. Putting a healthy meal on the table can be something you just don't have to worry about too much. With my backup plan system, I've noticed that dinner has become easy for me. I've got a plan, I've got a backup plan, I do a little prep work, and I am just well on my way to a more peaceful, stress-free dinner time. And I want you to feel the same way. So let's talk about how to put this into practice and set some goals to help you get started. Okay, if you set just a couple of simple goals for this week, like creating one pantry basket with a meal you can make in minutes, that is a great way to get started with just one simple backup meal. And try to change your mindset about starting from scratch in the kitchen. Know that you're not starting from nothing. You can really get things going with just a little bit of work. And if you spend just 15 minutes this week putting together one pantry meal that I talked about, and also just doing maybe a little bit of prep work to get one staple in your freezer, I think you will be setting yourself up for success and you will really like the results. Now, the quickest and least expensive way I've found to eat at home is to have a meal plan ready all the time. I really, really recommend having a meal plan in place so you don't have to spend time deciding what to eat. There are 3 ways I've found to make sure you have a plan ready. You can wing it. I don't really recommend this option. This is when I waste a lot of time. You can spend time every week to put together your own plan. I have lots of free resources available for meal planning at workingathomeschool.com if you need some ideas. You could spend some time on Pinterest and Google and kind of sketch out your week and what meals you'd like to fit into which slots. You can also sign up for a meal planning service. Those cost anywhere between $5 and $25 per month. I spent $9.99 a month, I think, for quite some time. And we kept just scratching off meals that didn't work for us, and it wasn't really adaptable. None of those systems actually really worked for me. I really wanted to be successful and organized when it came to meal planning, but I just didn't get those results when I went day by day or spent a ton of time every week meal planning, or even paying for someone else to do it for me on a monthly basis. I've just found that I think $10 per month on meal plans is a lot, and it's a lot easier for me to just kind of downsize it, or if I could just spend a lot less, it made it a lot more bearable for me. So I've shown you the why and the how, but I want to help you always be prepared without all the planning. So I'm going to show what I've put together as a workable plan for to help you always know that you have a meal waiting and ready to go. And if your main meal plan just isn't working for you, I now have a resource that helps you get your plan B meal in your pantry and freezer, so you know you're just minutes away from dinner. So I'll show you plan B first. This is my newest project, and I'm really, really excited about it. This is a brand new digital book with a collection of those pantry basket meals and some freezer meals as well. These are a game changer. It's not available yet, so if you purchase this book, you would get just a blank PDF with the book cover, and you would get the complete book as soon as it's done, which should be very soon. But this is a collection of those pantry meals and freezer meals to help you have a plan B ready to go. So like I said, I'm super excited about this. This is brand new. And I have a special pre-sale offer of 40% off with the coupon code PRESALE if you go to workingathomeschool.com/complete dinner plans. So you can definitely check that out. This is your backup plan for meals at home when you're too tired or too busy to cook. And this is something that I've put so much work into, but it's really, my family is loving these dinners, and I think yours will too. So I'm going to put the website in the chat box there. I hope I typed it correctly. So for the new book, the coupon code is pre-sale for a full 40% off. And then your plan A. So this is something that I really put a ton of blood, sweat, and tears into. This is a digital download, just like the other one. They're not physical books, they're digital downloads. It is a book of dinner solutions. It is a full year of monthly meal calendars. So it's a list. I can show you what it looks like. It includes 12 months of gluten-free, healthy, and delicious meals. You can jump in any time of the year because they're all reusable. It's all planned out for you. It has 12 months of weekly and monthly shopping lists. You can cross off items you don't need or meals you don't wish to make. Over 40 simple recipe cards, weekly prep ahead ideas to help you save time in the kitchen, and 12 bonus mix and match printable pages of meal ideas. I've had so many people tell me that buying the book was worth it just for these meal idea sheets alone, not to mention the 12 months of meal plans. But 70 low-carb snack ideas, oatmeal ideas, low-fat quinoa ideas, rice ideas, scrambled egg ideas, scrambled egg whites, side dishes, snack lunches, sweet potatoes, deli meat roll-ups, frozen veggies, and salad ideas. Just really ways to jazz up anything that you're putting on your table. And also 12 blank calendar templates if you want to switch up the order of your meals. So this is what it looks like. Like I said, it's reusable, so you can start any month and then use it for years to come. I do update links that end up breaking. The underlined links go to other websites, so they are external links. So that's why the book is in a PDF form. But there's a list of dinners, there's breakfasts and lunches that you rotate, the meal prep sheets, and then your shopping list. And the monthly shopping list isn't pictured here. So this really helps you if you are ever stuck wondering what's for dinner, or need meal ideas. These meal plans help you always have a plan in place. And then those bonus mix and match sheets are designed to help you with your backup plan, so you always have something ready to eat. These are the bonus meal planning pages that are blank. And it comes out to less than $1.50 a month. So like I said, you're not paying $10 a month for a meal plan. It's less than $1.50 to have a complete meal plan ready for the entire year, and then farther if you want to use them again. So here's what some people have said about this book. And I'm actually going to go back really quickly because I just wanted to show you these bonus meal idea worksheets. This is what those look like. This is just 4 of the 12. These are the side dish ideas, rice ideas, oatmeal ideas, and low carb snack ideas. So there's tons of stuff there. Tons of material, I guess, to base your meals off of. But let's see what some of the readers have had to say. Leslie wrote to me and told me it saves her 2 hours every week, which is amazing. It saves me a lot of time too. Sue said, I am just thrilled at the practicality of the book. As busy moms, we just don't have time to do a lot of reading. The list of recipes, a month at a glance, simple yet hearty meals that are healthy and yummy are concise and so user-friendly. I'm so happy with my purchase. That was so nice of her to say. And Tiana said, planning for dinner is so much easier now. And most of the recipes so far have been 4 or 5 stars from my family. In addition, I don't know if this was planned or not. It was planned. But it seems like the meats we use and the veggies have coincided nicely with what's on sale at the store that month, which is really awesome. This helps us stay on a super tight budget and still be healthy. So I also have something really cool that just I added after the book, digital book came out, is a spreadsheet for all of the monthly menus, so you can customize it now. So if you add these spreadsheets to your shopping cart normally, let's say you buy 365 1 year of healthy meal plans for busy families for $17.99, and then you add these customizable spreadsheets, you would normally pay an extra $8. But because you're participating in the webinar and I want to say thank you, you can go to workingathomeschool.com/complete dinner plans and put in the coupon code Eat at Home, and you'll get these spreadsheets for free to customize the book to your family's needs. You can edit the shopping list, you can edit the menus, you can just swap out whatever doesn't work for your family, and it makes it really easy to use. So that is super helpful, and I know a lot of people have been really happy with the customizable spreadsheets. And like I said, I haven't offered them for free outside of this class. They're normally $8. So this deal is only good until Monday at midnight. So you'll want to use the coupon code Eat at Home for that. This is where you'll add it to the cart. I'm just putting this picture here because I get so many questions about this. You'll add it to the cart, and then where it says got a code, that's where you'll put in the code Eat at Home for $8 off. And then, like I said, only till Monday at midnight, then it will be a solid $8 again, and the coupon code won't work anymore. So if you want to get all of it together, the Perpetually Prepped book, that's, like I said, you can pre-order it for 40% off, plus 365 1 year of healthy meal plans for busy families. Again, these are all digital products. And the customizable spreadsheets, you can add it all to your cart and get a full $13 off with the coupon code presale bundle. So I just wanted to make that available to you guys in case you're interested. Let's see, Anonymous, I'm going to go ahead and answer questions now. I see that someone asked, it's just Anonymous 1473, sorry, I don't know your name. Are these all marked for THM, ES, and FP? So if you follow Trim Healthy Mama, now most of these work for the paleo diet too, or it's really easy to swap out some of the dairy for paleo. But I do include a free download that tells you if the meals are SE or FP. It categorizes every single meal for you. But because of the Trim Healthy Mama copyright laws, of course, they put so much work into their book, and I don't want to infringe on their copyright at all. I love them to pieces. So there's a free download available, but it's not in the actual book that you download. I just send you an email with the free download that tells you the meal types for every meal. So the entire book is Trim Healthy Mama. It works for the Trim Healthy Mama plan, but you'll get a separate free download that tells you which meal types go with which meals. So I hope that answers your question. Does anybody else have any other questions? I know I had it be a smaller crowd this time because I had too many questions a little while ago. So hopefully somebody has some questions and I didn't make it too small with this class today. But if anyone has any questions, I do have an email question here about just being too tired to cook and wanting to know how hard it is to make these pantry basket meals. I just have to say, you know, I've had my 12-year-olds make some of these meals. I know my 10-year-old could do it. It's not super complicated. It doesn't take a lot of time on your feet, which is something I really love about pulling together a meal from the pantry in minutes is, I mean, I get too tired to just stand on my feet. So the coupon code for the pre-sale bundle is pre-sale bundle. So, and I just leaned away from the microwave. I hope you heard me. I'm sorry. So it is for the whole bundle. It's pre-sale bundle for the $13 off. And the coupon code for the free spreadsheets alone was Eat at Home. And for Perpetually Prepped, my new book of the Plan B meals was just pre-sale. Are the codes going to be on the email you are sending out? Yes. Hi, Barb. Yes, they will all be there as well. So you can definitely check it out there if you want. I'm going to send an email out with the video replay, and I know that won't apply to those of you in the chat box right now because you're already here, so you definitely don't need to hear my voice all over again for another 45 minutes, but they will be in that email as well. And then, like I said, tomorrow I'll be sending out the free printable for you with just a few of those pantry meal ideas. Thanks, Barb. That's so nice. So I just wanted to say thanks to you guys for participating, and I am going to go ahead and switch the screen back to myself. And I am going to give away a copy of 365, 1 Year of Healthy Meal Plans for Busy Families. So if you want to win that, how we will do this is I'm going to look away from the chat box and give you a minute to enter a number between 1 and 50. So if you want to enter your number between 1 and 50 in the box, I'm going to write a number down. I'm going to escape from the screen so you can see me again. Hi, here I am. So I'm going to write down a number between 1 and 50 here, and whoever is closest to that number in the chat box will win a copy of 365, 1 Year of Healthy Meal Plans for Busy Families. And I will contact you, or you can contact me through the box. Sometimes it doesn't let me see your email address, so if you don't hear from me, you'll want to send me your screen name there. But I'm purposely not looking over there, so you can go ahead and enter your number between 1 and 50. I'm going to go ahead and write my number down right now, just whatever comes to mind. And the closest person will get the book emailed to them. So I'm not looking. I'm going to give you just another few seconds if anybody wants to enter to win. Between 1 and 50, let's see, I think. Okay, 5 more seconds. Get your last entry in now. I had someone a few classes ago enter after the fact, and I felt so bad. But I just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to get their number in. Okay, here we go. So I chose the number 23, and it looks like Little Princess and Anonymous 9878 had the same answer there. So I will send it to both of you. Let's see. I don't think it will let me pull up your email address there. Let me check it out here. Nope. So I will need you two to email me email me jen@workingathomeschool.com and just put your username in there, and I'll verify that it's you, and I'll go ahead and email the book out to you guys if you're interested and want to get it. So thank you all so much for participating today and hanging out with me. Watch out for those emails from me. I will have the information in there that you asked for, and that free printable spreadsheet as well with, I'm sorry, it's not a spreadsheet, but the free printable with the pantry meal ideas. And I hope to talk to you soon. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Bye.